to call someone temperamental is a very subjective opinion.
Absolutely.
You could call me temperamental. I could be on my period and actually be physically temperamental. And also, actors are very coddled.
I think perfectionist is a very basic word to use to describe Sanjay Leela Bhansali. It's what an outsider who has never worked with him and never been on his set and never seen the kind of director that he is would use that kind of word.
I did feel insecure about being pretty when I didn't get the role or something. There were times when I, they would just say that you're too pretty, so you won't be getting this part.
To Sanjeeda's credit, she's like, beautiful, and that scar, when the audience will see it, they cannot unsee it. They'll remember what it's there for, what caused it.
Absolutely.
What the
That's what I think
is.
they're interested to know.
I love fiercely, but it'll never be one-sided. I wouldn't waste my time on that. I would honestly wouldn't even waste my time on marriage if I didn't have a partner as loving and as understanding and as easy on the eyes as I do. And I would definitely not take to the bottle.
Did you just call your husband easy on the eyes?
Isn't he?
He's beautiful.
Yeah. I know.
Hi Richa, Sharmin, Sanjeeda. What an absolute pleasure to be speaking to you. Welcome to News 18.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
We're good.
We're good.
Good?
Excited.
Yeah, excited.
Nervous also.
Nervous.
I'm a bit nervous.
I woke up with a frozen shoulder.
Okay, so I like I was telling you, I watched 5 episodes as they were assigned to us, and I'm just blown away. I just can't stop thinking about Heeramandi ever since I've watched it.
That's amazing.
And I think each character, be it the men or the women, are so well written, and all of them are so well performed. But so congratulations to you for that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's start with this. So on the show we see these women, be it your Faridan or your Malika Jan. There's of course Wahidan. In a way, they are sort of pitted against each other for various reasons. Sometimes the reason is more internal, sometimes it's external. But in life, how important do you think sisterhood is for you all?
I have a sister, my younger sister, and I think that without that feminine support and that understanding that I get from her, I think my entire life would be incomplete. Essentially, I think having a sister has made me realize how important sisterhood is, because I think I lean on her for everything. Whether sometimes me and my mom are in the middle of a heated argument, my sister will come and support me, and I steal all her clothes. After marriage, it's become very hard because now I've moved with her wardrobe to a different city. But she's a support system in my life, and she's there for me through thick and thin. And I don't think, I don't know what it would be like to have a brother, but I think the way a sister understands you and the relatability quotient just goes up to another degree.
Yeah. But even female friendships, I think
Absolutely.
that's also a form
That's
of
what I think.
sisterhood.
I don't have a sister. I always wanted one. But I think I would just talk about the experience on sets, when you have feminine energy supporting you. And that's what I felt on this set, because I was surrounded by females all the time. So I think every woman's success should be celebrated by another woman, I feel. And it should be inspiring and empowering also. And I always felt while shooting with each one of them that they want me to perform good, they want me to look good, they want me to do my best. So I think that in a way, if we can call it, not sisterhood, but that feminine support, I think it's enjoyable.
Yeah. Richa, you want to add something to that?
I didn't grow
How
up.
important are your women friends to you?
Very important. They're all spread out in different corners of the world, and they've always been really supportive and always been there, and it's good to have backing like that.
Absolutely. I know we cannot give out too much about your character, but without, I'll try to
It's
not
a little
give
joke
out.
we played on you. Ha ha ha.
Guys, kya matlab?
Okay.
ज़्यादा कुछ बोल के we will try to stick to what I'm
You
going to
can't
ask.
talk about anyone's character too much, not just Richa's character, anyone's character.
Yeah, I will not delve too deep, but since I've watched it, I also have certain questions, of course.
Casper, the friendly ghost. Behave yourself.
No, Richa, I'm asking that your character is somebody yearning for love. Let's put it that way, right? And what do you make of this kind of love, which to an outsider, to an onlooker, or from the surface can seem like oh, she lacks self-respect or self-worth?
I think that there are all kinds of people in the world, and I think it's wrong to expect an actor to just be super self-respecting and have a ton of work, because that is tantamount to judging the character. Flawed people on screen make for the most interesting characters. One could argue that a person who's playing a mafia don has such little self-respect that they continue to be on the wrong side of the law and eventually get killed for it. So I don't judge my characters, and I say this often. I'm accused of playing characters that are far too empowered, very feisty, bold, outspoken. So as an actor, I also get bored, and I think the audience gets bored, and they come to expect that from me. I mean, for me, what's interesting is not that she has no self-respect. It's just that I doubt that a ton of people, after their self-worth have been broken, if they're sort of trafficked at the age of 6 and then grown up inside a gilded cage, would have a ton of self-worth to begin with, because their life is deemed unimportant by society. And we cannot judge a character, say in the 1940s, with the standards of feminism we have today.
Sure.
Because then everything will fall flat. And I don't want to see a story about a banker in a 9-to-5 job who has a very stable home life, is well on his way to having a midlife crisis, and that's not what's interesting. For me, what's interesting is a Breaking Bad chemistry professor who discovers he doesn't have much time to live and decides to make drugs. That's very interesting to me. So I'm always looking for stuff like that. I always like to sort of thumb my nose at convention and puzzle the audience also a little bit, because they expect differently, and then you're like, why do you expect differently? Anyone can do anything.
But this is to the both of you because of your characters, Alam and Lajjo. Yes. So, do you in reality also love as fiercely as these characters do?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's something it's not just love a person, it's the emotion of love that I think is just such a versatile emotion that encompasses so many different kinds of emotions and has so many different kinds of reactions. Which is why I don't think I'd ever judge a character like Lajjo, because there is so much strength within that weakness of Lajjo. It takes strength to stick by that delusional thought process to the degree that Lajjo stuck to it with. And I think it's beautiful to see love interpreted in that way. And for Alam, I think it's the biggest driving force in her, and it makes her make a lot of decisions. It makes her understand situations better, and I think she actually, throughout her arc, I think she understands the meaning of love, which in the initial episodes, if you watch, she's very whimsical about love. But then I think throughout the progression, she understands the gravitas of an emotion like love. So it's because I think Lajjo and Alam are quite similar in that thought process. Lajjo was an example to Alam, and it kind of helped shape Alam's understanding also of.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It is. We did that scene together. After Sakalban, there's a scene where I'm sitting with Richa and Aditi, and you look at me and you say, "औरत के असली दुश्मन के ख्वाब होते, दिखते तो है, but पूरे नहीं होते." And for me, I took that as a lot of justification for the rest of my character's actions. I used that thought process that we shared in that scene about Zorawar and about Lajjo's interpretation of love. It kind of justified Alam's actions. I was like, but why is she loving like this? And that scene kind of impacted a lot of my thought process.
Yeah.
Richa Chadha, does she love so fiercely too?
I love fiercely, but it'll never be one-sided. I wouldn't waste my time on that. I would honestly wouldn't even waste my time on marriage if I didn't have a partner as loving and as understanding and as easy on the eyes as I do. And I would definitely not take to the bottle.
Did you just call your husband easy on the eyes?
Isn't he?
He's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, so I'm saying I would love fiercely, and I do love fiercely and passionately and like a tigress, but it has to be reciprocal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about beauty, because I think, of course, the women are stunning in the show, but I think they also use beauty as a weapon, you know, in a way. Your character really, was very interesting because she has a scar, we know, and you know there are these points in different parts of the narrative where we get a hint that, okay, she is insecure because she feels somebody else is perhaps more beautiful than her, somebody else is perhaps more younger than her. You are an actor, you are in show business. Has there ever been a point, Sanjeeda, where you questioned these things, where you felt insecure about, let's say, beauty, vanity?
I did feel insecure about being pretty when I didn't get the role or something. There were times when I they would just say that you're too pretty, so you won't be getting this part. So it's a different mindset.
Works both ways,
absolutely.
yeah?
So that's where I'm coming.
See, it works both ways.
It is, yeah. Sometimes they would just say that you're
Some
pretty,
people
you
might
won't get it.
outright reject her for being too beautiful for
It has
them.
happened to me a lot. But I think how you deal with it, I thought, theek hai, if there's something which requires a pretty face with
Scar
some
lगा
kind
दो.
of performance, they will cast me. And here I'm given a scar. But I think the scar has added so much to the character of Waheeda. I think it's a constant reminder for Waheeda's character of who she was, who she has become, and who she doesn't want to be.
I think
It's also a great reminder to the audience of the kind of violence.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
There's like a baggage.
We all, like, to Sanjeeda's credit, she's like, beautiful, and that scar, when the audience will see it, they cannot unsee it. They'll remember what it's there for, what caused it.
Absolutely.
What the
That's what I
history
think
is.
they're interested to know, that why is the scar, who has caused the scar. So there's a backstory, there's a
and that's where
emotional
the
baggage
beauty
to
would lie, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's what would make the scar beautiful. The fact that there's a
daag
story
achhe hain.
behind it.
Bilkul.
And we all, I think, in the women in the show all represent different facets.
Yes, absolutely.
They all, there's something on their mind. There's a personal, like, need for revenge or redemption, or there's a need for freedom, or there's just a simple need to just, have a man's last name. It's all those things.
Yeah, different kinds of ambition, I mean.
Exactly.
Personal,
Yeah.
sometimes it's more external.
Absolutely.
That way. You are working with Mr. Bhansali for the first time. And, I recently read an interview by Shekhar Suman where he said that, yes, Mr. Bhansali has, temperamental issues, but that's because he is a perfectionist. And, were you intimidated by the idea of, working with a Mr. Bhansali?
He's just a perfectionist, I think, and he just wants everything to look not mediocre, but because whatever he does is nothing less than excellence. And he's somebody who's like respected all around the world for his brilliant creative mind, for his incisive advocacy and honesty to the craft, what he puts in. He'll expect his artists to give at least honesty on screen, So I enjoyed all sorts of roots of Mr. Bhansali. And he's somebody who is very expressive. If he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. And if he likes it, he's very effusive with his praise, and he'll validate you with all, in front of people. So I have thoroughly enjoyed the experience, and I think I'm a confident person. I'm more confident after working with Sir, and surely a better performer.
I think perfectionist is a very basic word to use to describe Sanjay Leela Bhansali. It's what an outsider who has never worked with him and never been on his set and never seen the kind of director that he is would use that kind of word. Because I think what he is far more than that. He adapts to change very well. He keeps challenging himself to do different things. It's not all about being perfect. Because he looks for rawness, he looks for magic, he looks for spontaneity. And if he was a perfectionist, he would have not, if he was only a perfectionist, that he would not treat spontaneity and instinctiveness the way he does. He really appreciates those things. So he's not purely a perfectionist. He's a very hard-working man whose perseverance is unmatched. Therefore, when you have to give your 100% to match up to that level. And he expects that from the people around him. because he is delivering his 100%. He is juicing his mind out of all the creative juices that he has. And when the person in front of him isn't giving that 100%, I think he will push you to give that 100%. So perfectionist, I think, is what everyone tries to box Sanjay Leela Bhansali into, but he's far more than that.
So basically, he can find perfection in imperfection.
First of all, to call someone temperamental is a very subjective opinion.
Absolutely.
You could call me temperamental. I could be on my period and actually be physically temperamental. And also, actors are very coddled. In a massive show, sometimes they don't want to act. In a long shot, a body double will be standing and giving cues. They don't want to give cues. They don't want to step in hot water. They don't want to do a take 99 times. These are literally things that are asked of an actor. Whether you're ill, whether it's raining, come hail, storm, whatever, you have to deliver because there's an entire bunch of 200 or 400 people waiting for you. A set has been made, a lighting team is standing there. I'm not saying one has to be inhuman, but it is literally the job.
Sure.
So I'm saying, when I find people say these things, I think actors, really, like, everyone's quite soft on them. And I'm an actor myself. I also produce now. But, it's a very, it's a quite a privileged job. Wherever we stand, someone comes and offers us a chair and water and something to drink. Are you feeling okay today? How's your health? Did you sleep well? Let them rest, let them sleep well. And I feel like, I do think that Mr. Bhansali has very high standards and there's a lot of money riding on his name and for the project. And I'd probably have the same high standards if I was a director because he is the captain of the ship. And at the same time, I find him to be very compassionate about your moods.
The way he treats a technician, an AD, even a spot boy from the camera team, the way he treats them also is with a lot of respect because behind the scenes we don't acknowledge it. Like, she's right, we are a very privileged class on a set. If you walk onto a film set, you will see people from every aspect of life there. That 200 people encompass a very wide range of people. So it works out in a way where you don't realize lighting team people and art team people come 2 to 3 hours before we come to set up. They also dismantle everything and leave 2-3 hours after us. They sleep for
First to come, last to leave,
I just... So like that goes completely unacknowledged in most places, but in Sanjay sir's set, and the reason why people are willing to put in, a shift is supposed to be 10 hours? 12 hours. And we even force, I've never seen teams do this outside other than for Sanjay sir, extend 2 hours, 3 hours ahead of the shift time just because they'll do it out of the respect for him and how he treats them and what he's creating. And I think it's just an honor to work with Sanjay sir, and to boil him down to temperamental perfectionist, I think, is a bit basic.
I think humans and animals both are respected on Sanjay Leela Bhansali's sets.
I'm getting cues to cut this. On a parting note, very lastly, Richa, this is for you. Somebody is coming on, it's on the way.
Yeah.
You're going to be a mother soon. Playing a character like Lajjo, who is vulnerable, of course, she's fragile, but she can also be powerful, in a way. And at the juncture of this impending motherhood, did that also give you the time to reflect on the kind of upbringing you would want to have?
When we shot that was literally 10 or 15 days before my marriage. So there was no thought of motherhood on my mind
Now
in the immediate future. Now, I really don't think I can. It's like somebody saying you'll write a novel. What kind of novel will you write if it's autobiographical? You can't say. I mean, this is new for me. This is, like they say, child gives birth to a mother. So we'll find out. Honestly, they say that. I mean, and it's the most natural thing. I've watched my mother, raise 2 kids while being a working mom, delivered my brother and went back to her job of teaching at a college in a month. I always saw her working at home, and not in the sense of cheerful indifference, but actually enjoying her life, living her life, teaching us to live by principle and be empowered. And I'm going to take my cue from that.
Absolutely.
It's not a deal. I mean, we are all mammals. Look at nature.
Yeah.
Literally, like an elephant or a giraffe gives birth standing up, kind of goes and licks the calf and gets back into the wild, teaches them ways of the wild, teaches them to hunt. I'm not saying I'm going to teach my child to hunt, but
I've done
I'm saying it's just natural.
Yeah. Sure. Well, on that note, thank you so much to all three of you.
Thank you.
Loved the characters that you guys are portraying. So beautiful,
Thank
so
you.
powerful, and all the best for Heeramandi.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.